Hi, I'm Bob Ryan, and this is a video for HomeDefenseGun.net. Today we're taking a look at pocket pistols, small semi-automatic and revolver handguns that don't generally require the use of a traditional holster to carry them around. I mean, you literally pack them around in your pocket. A lot of times you find yourself in a situation or a place where simply not convenient or not possible to carry a full-sized handgun, and these firearms kind of fill that gap that you'll run into sometimes. They're not the most powerful handguns on the market. They're not the most accurate handguns in the world, but they are firearms, and oftentimes having any gun is better than having no gun at all. So that's the role they play, and we're going to take a look at a few of them here to see what you might be interested in if you're in the market for a small, highly concealable handgun. The first one we're going to take a look at here, this is a British unique pistol. It's based on a Browning patent, and it's a pretty old firearm. It was probably manufactured sometime in the 1920s or 1930s. This particular gun's actually a war relic that my grandfather brought back from World War II. Firing pin has been removed from this one so that my father could use it as a toy gun as a child, but the rest of it remains intact. This gun has a floating barrel that moves around when you fire it. Small manual safety on one side, and a really heavy trigger pull in case that safety comes off while you're carrying it around in your pocket. You'll notice it lacks traditional sights. It just has a groove up on the top. This is the sort of thing that a fella from 1920s up to the 1950s would probably carry around in a vest pocket or something. It doesn't look so good anymore, but it really is a highly functional firearm if you can figure out a good way to wrap your hand around it, fire it. And that's a lot like what all pocket pistols once were. Obviously, this is a fairly complicated design that requires a lot of machining, so they kind of went the way of the dodo. You don't see a lot of these around anymore, and it's probably not worth the added money that gets tacked onto these days. If you want to purchase one for an actual carry piece, they become kind of collector's items, so people want a little more for them these days, but it's something to bear in mind if you're looking for a slightly classier kind of pocket gun. Essentially what replaced that in the market is Walther patent clones like this firearm. This one happens to be an Ivor Johnson. It's 22 caliber, manufactured in Jacksonville, Arkansas. It has a solid mounted barrel. It's pressed into the frame. And these firearms have a lot of high points. They tend to be very accurate. This particular gun will keep all its rounds on a sheet of typing paper at about 50 yards, even though that kind of accuracy isn't really required of a short-range defensive pistol like this. It has a built-in trigger safety. You can hear it click there maybe before it goes off completely. But, this gun was probably all the rage from the 60s onward until it was determined that it too had an overly large number of parts, hard to machine, hard to turn out, and your end product gets to be a little more expensive than what people really want to pay for a small pocket pistol. You won't see a lot of these around anymore. CZ still makes a couple of guns roughly in the neighborhood, but by and large they've kind of died out and been replaced by a couple of guns that we're going to take a look at here in a minute. Now we'll take a look at a couple of the pistols that came along and more or less replaced the Walther variants in the market. These guns are in some respects similar to the Walther. They have a solid mounted barrel, and the double action trigger on the Walther has been replaced by a simpler single action. These guns are striker fired. They don't have hammers. They utilize strikers, not unlike the Glocks or other striker fired pistols you see on the market today. This particular gun is a Brico Arms 380. It's firearm you'll probably tend to see around a lot and use in brew shops, although they're still being manufactured. They're out there, you can get them. These are very inexpensive handguns. You can get them used for $80 to $90 or brand new for just a little over $100. About the only problem with these guns is that they tend to get sold to people who only occasionally may shoot, just want something to keep in the sock drawer, something to carry around with them on rare occasions, and they're really not a very good firearm in that role. When you first get this gun, about the only thing you can count on with it is the first shot. After that, it will almost invariably jam. It takes a lot of breaking in, a lot of TLC to kind of get them worked around to where they're approaching being a reliable feeding and functioning handgun. This one, for instance, is probably about half wore out and just now starting to get to be a kind of gun you can actually count on to get an entire clip moved through. But if you're trying to save money and willing to put in the work of breaking them in and fussing around with them, they can be a useful firearm. Gun that has a very similar design to the Brico is this Raven Arms Industries pistol. This one also has a solid mounted barrel, single action trigger, striker fired. But the only real difference between this pistol and the Brico is the fact that the extractor's been moved up to the top instead of residing on the side of the gun. It has a small manual safety on the side here, although it's not nearly as accessible or handy as the one on the Brico. This gun has a little better construction than the Brico. All the edges on the outside of it are rounded off, and it's got a little cleaner look and feel to it. Although in terms of functioning, these guns also require a lot of break-in, a lot of fussing around with if you want to get them working good. But aside from being something I would recommend for the neophyte, I mean, if you simply want something that's low cost, you can get these guns to serve your purposes. It's just not the kind of thing that works well right out of the box. Oddly enough, these guns are reasonably accurate with their solid mounted barrels, so you can count on them in that respect. But in terms of reliability, there are probably better guns in the market, and we're going to take a look at a couple of them now. The last two small semi-autos we're going to take a look at here are the Taurus PT-22 and the Ruger LCP. Guns like this Taurus have been around for a while now. Their main design feature is the fact that you don't have to pull back the slide to load them. They have this flip-up barrel here. You insert the first round into the barrel, close the action, and then after that, as the gun is fired, the slide moves back and forth, drawing rounds from the detachable magazine. These guns were originally produced under patent by Beretta, and they're still available, the Beretta Bobcat and Tomcat. They're actually, as pocket guns go, fairly ergonomically useful. They have a small thumb safety on the side here that's very easy to get a hold of. Got a nice big magazine release, nice big switch there to get that barrel open. If I have one complaint about this type of firearm, it's that the long double action pull on them tends to be less than conducive to good accuracy, although with a ultra short range piece of equipment like this, it's not necessarily that big of a problem. The only other complaint that I might issue regarding these is that it's probably almost always better to get them in a center fire cartridge, 25 ACP or 32 ACP. For no other reason than with the small springs and small hammer on this gun, it's not always perfectly reliable with rimfire ammunition. A lot of times these guns will start giving you misfires, but that problem's solved if you simply buy one in a center fire variant. Probably treat you pretty well as time goes by. Last gun here is a pretty new one on the market. It's Ruger LCP. It's got a polymer lower, fairly hesitated release-like upper, although this is technically a blowback gun. Has a small hidden hammer in the back there. Double action trigger pull that's really not that bad. And one of the main things Ruger did with this pistol was to lighten up the amount of force that's required to chamber the initial round in it. Over the years, that's always been the main complaint with pocket pistols. By the time you're interested in getting a very small, light gun to carry around, you usually don't have enough hand strength left to work the slide on it. But with this LCR, that's not that much of an issue. These guns are good pieces of equipment. They're reasonably accurate. They do kick a little more than any other 380, but that's only because this gun is almost completely weightless. This probably only weighs about as much as my wallet, so they're a neat toy. We'll take a look at one last classic pistol here before we go, but those are all the autos for your consideration. Well, the final pistol we're going to take a look at here is a revolver, which is what I think of as the more or less classic pocket pistol. This one's a Smith & Wesson, chambered for .38 Special. It's a air-weight pistol. This thing's made out of space-age scandium material, so it weighs about as much as the plastic LCP over there, but holds 5 rounds of .38 Smith & Wesson ammo. If you're at all familiar with revolvers, large or small, this thing is very pleasant to shoot. Feels real good in the hand with this rather small grip on there, and obviously it has a lot simpler controls than any semi-automatic handgun will. With a revolver, all you need to do is simply pull the trigger with the double action. While the small pocket-sized revolver isn't as popular as it used to be, I think there's still an excellent option for anybody out there looking for a pocket gun, if for no other reason than you can leave this loaded for very, very long periods of time without worrying about your magazine springs getting weird. Because with a revolver, the shells just sit there. Now, this gun is probably more expensive currently than any of the other pistols we looked at, but by the same token, you can probably count on this gun to last a lot longer and give better, lower maintenance service while you're at it. So I hope this look at these various pocket pistols has been informative, and I hope it makes your decision making easier if you're in the market for something small to carry around.